Good afternoon, team. Happy Tuesday. Okay, so pretty choppy day today. We had a big flush down and nice strong reversal, but again, I don't like this low volume. The last few days, everything has been low volume. We're not really getting a big thrust of institutional buying here. So kind of drew this little trend line downwards here. If you notice, you know, lower highs. Even the last 3 days, we've been kind of chopping around, but it's been chopping around on lower highs. And even today it kind of undertook um, the last week's big bar up. So this pattern here doesn't look too promising, especially when you have looks like a accelerating 50-day moving average to the downside. It's kind of going parallel to this downtrend line. So, I mean, if we have any kind of little thrust or anything, maybe something like that, we come up to here and then poof. That's kind of what I'm seeing. Or maybe poof to the 21 and then it holds again. I don't know, but this doesn't look like we're done. Like we're done. It doesn't look that way. We basically have gone sideways since Thursday, Friday. Sorry, Friday, Monday, Tuesday. Since Friday. Well, even Thursday, Wednesday here. I mean, it's like if you look at it here, it's really been this channel with some little peaks and valleys. But basically, we're back here, and then we were here last week, the beginning of the week. So haven't done anything. Gaps got filled, so this gap got taken care of, as I mentioned earlier. This gap got taken care of, and this one, like I said earlier, in the quick little video I sent you, we got almost right to it. We still did not hit it. So this is still open, guys, and this will get filled. This will get filled. This little wedging pattern here. Whenever we have this kind of thing here, we go down. Even a little one, we go down. I don't know. I just don't see us hitting these highs here. The cues, same thing we've been kind of drawn here. So, I mean, I'm glad 305 held, and kind of we violated it just to kind of come in and get this gap filled, and we got this is the one. This is the opening in 15 minutes, and then we kind of gap down. And from there was all she wrote. But if you notice, kind of 310 was big time resistance hasn't the whole entire day. And then when we broke it down here again, we gapped up above it and we couldn't hold it, which is like a couple of hours. And then boom, we broke down again and filled this gap here. So 310 it's looking to be a pretty substantially strong number here to hold. So let's see what happens tomorrow. See how we open tomorrow. See how the day transcribes. There's a lot of volatility. I mean, you go from three or four something to almost 310 something. That's like a 6 point move on the cues. That's a couple hundred points. So there's definitely a lot of volatility. So again, if you have profits, you want to take them. So I want to go over. I got a few stocks that I went through my scans. I mean, everything is getting pretty much extended. I don't want to go through some of the ones that I've given you guys this last weekend and prior. That if you were kind of alert and you had your trend line set, and you could have made some really good money on these. And again, just more of a learning experience to see what you're looking for, and you could realize that these patterns, these alerts and these kind of like cup and handles and setup that I give you, this stuff works. HCC. I have my trend line here. It got activated. Remember when it's red, it already got activated. We got 10% up today. 10% in one day. Why? Because it broke right here. If you would have bought it right at the breakout, that would have been nice. CEIX. I had the trend line right there. So the last couple of days, you would have taken that. You would have held the 21. The 21 never got violated. You would have held it today. You would have had a 5.5% move today. But overall, from here to here, it's been more than 5% move. So these setups work. OBV right here. That was my trend line. But even if you waited for 60, you took it at 60.05, 62. So you still would have made a couple $100, $300 in a day if you would have bought 100 shares. And again, decent volume, not overly, big volume bar. But again, we're going up in volume as the stock is going up. That's what you want to see. COP. COP was a good one. Gave it back to you guys here. Let's say at 108. You took it at 108. It's at 122. Look at this. It never, after the breakout, even on the next day where it kind of went down a little bit, but it's still close higher, it never broke the 9, and it still hasn't. So even if you would have kept it from 108 and the 9 was your stop out, you would have been up, close to 15%. PDCE right here. I gave you this little trend line break right here. They say 79.45 to 85. And again, the 9's not even. This thing has never seen a lower low. So, put the work in. put your alerts on. Put your trend lines on whenever they break. That stuff that I give you. Here it is. MTDR. I know I gave this to you this weekend. I think this little shelf right here kind of came in, it extended, and it kind of went sideways on low volume. I told you, and then we had this when we broke this little trend line here. That was the pivot. You were up almost 5% today in one day. VET right here, with this trend line here. Well, it broke it up. Actually, yesterday it would have given you a trigger. So let's say you would have gotten in yesterday. I don't know. Let's say 23.60, right? It came back inside, but the 9 is. You don't want to choke your trade. You don't want to give it like 10, 12 cents. So you want to give it a little bit of room. That's logical. And then a worst case scenario, if it breaks, the day prior's low, which would also coincide with breaking the 9. So that breaking the 9 would have been a good stop out point. It still would have given you less than 3% stop loss. So let's say you would have kept it, the 9 is still in effect, you would have been up 6% today on this stock. Okay, that's trading, guys. This one's one I took today, TTE. I took it right at 60.05. Once it broke the 60.03, I got in. So I own shares of this at 60.05. What's my stop? My stop is if it breaks below yesterday's low, which is also coincides with today's low, which will probably coincide with if it breaks this, it'll probably violate the 9. So if you notice here, look at this. Look at this. Even from back here, you take this little breakout here. That's the breakout you take right there. Let's say you take this breakout. Well, the next day, obviously, it stops you out because you broke the 9. But let's say you go at it again and you see this and you take this breakout here. You would have had this back in 53, 7-point move because it has never violated the 9. So that full cup is in effect. I was waiting for a little handle to form, but it doesn't have to form. I'm taking this breakout. And if it comes back inside, guys, I'm gonna be out, 1.5%. It's just that, I'm not gonna be, out like a lot. Just my stop is, I'm not choking the trade, but if it comes back inside and it breaks the 9, what does that tell me? It's breaking character. Because what's character? Holding the 9. And then once it breaks the 9, then it gets really, choppy here. Broke the 9 here, it gets all over the place. It gapped down here from this 9, gapped down all over the place. But once it settles in and it starts trending higher, it has never really violated it. So where's my stop? My stop is the 9. And then the other one I want to show you, it's KEX. Look at this. Look at this beautiful entry right above 70. You take it at 70.05, 70.03, above the 69.97 pivot. I gave you guys this weekend, I think. But it has almost a 6.5-point move today. And it finished strong, finished at the high end, and if look at this, above average volume. What happened the last time it did that? You know, right here, boom, 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 boom. It hasn't seen a lower high. So this would have been a good one too if you would have gotten in here. So the ones that I'm seeing right now for the next setup. Well, before we go into this, look at this. I had this and I got out too early. Remember, I had ARCH. I had it at I sold it at 158, and I made 4% on it because in this day right here, on Friday, it kind of went, it went down. It never really violated the 50. But if you notice, I have a trend line alert here. Right here, it is red. That means it got activated. That means it hit it. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna let it get below the 50. Let me get out. And I ended up selling it at 158 around there. I made good money on it. Look at that. 11 points up today. If I would have just held it because the 21, I mean, it hit the 21. Again, this was a mistake on my part as far as like choking the trade. I didn't give it a lot of room. Like, maybe like 148, 147 would have been my, a legitimate stop below the 50. It never really hit that because, these days right here. I bought it here and the 50, and then the next day, it kind of moved around a little bit. I got squeamish with it. Again, it's a little bit, choppy, and the market was, bad. So either way, but just a kind of a lesson here. Maybe what I'm doing is I'm putting my stops are getting to be a little bit too tight. I'm getting choked out on the trades. There's a lot of trades that I've gotten out of, and I made good money on it. But I'm going back and looking at it, and it's like they're much, much higher. And it really didn't violate any major moving averages. I just kind of went intraday and I saw, okay, I'm gonna take my profit and go. So learning as you go. In the market environment you're in, some of these stocks are working. Give you a little bit more room, buy less shares. So, if you want to give it, a 2.5% stop, maybe give it like a 5% stop, but instead of buying 100 shares, buy 50 shares. It's the same stop loss as far as monetary amount. You're still going to lose the same amount of money on a stop out, but you're giving the stock a little bit more room to do its thing. Eventually, let's say I would have bought 100 shares here and I got stopped out because my stop was there. Instead, I would have bought 50 and I would have given it more room. Well, it never stopped me out. Now I have 50 shares that made 10% rather than my 100 shares that made 4%. So, I kind of left on the table an extra 2% on 100 shares. Again, I'm kind of rambling about the same thing, but I want to get the point across that you can give your stocks room by buying less shares and getting a bigger percentage stop loss and just buying less shares, and you still have the same dollar amount max loss, if that makes sense. So the ones that I'm kind of looking at for potential setups, ARLP, this little shelf right here is kind of building. So the other trend lines, if it breaks this little shelf right here, maybe like 21, I'll sell. And close below 21, it is after hours, irrelevant. So if it breaks this shelf, you could be a buyer and then have the 9 be your stop. CNQ, same thing, this little shelf right here. I want to see 70. I want to see 70 get. I'm not concerned about 70, 60. It's like a little one-day wonder here that doesn't really, it's not going to really play too much into it. But 70 is kind of a psychological, round number. So maybe like 70.05, 70.12, kind of thing. Could be a nice entry. And then you have your stop right here below this little shelf right. So give it some room. And this is too deep for you. I will use a 21 here as my guide, not the 9 and 21, because you want to break this shelf right here, these lows, to for sure know that it's not working. So again, instead of buying 100 shares or 200 shares, buy 100 or buy 50, and you're giving them more room. Okay, but this is a nice little setup if it goes above 70. I'm definitely gonna be jumping into that one. EQT, the same thing, and I like this little shelf right here. Little low volume on a sideways move. I like it. So even if we would have gotten this entry here of 45.60, let's say, you would have been up, 3 points on it already. So it's kind of resting again. I'm gonna let the night be my friend. If it goes up, I would say 50, 50.05, 50.12 will be a nice entry. Anything above 50, and then again, I wouldn't, let's say I buy 100 shares. I'm gonna stop that at 25 shares. If it goes to like 48, 78, and then the rest, I'm gonna let this little shelf be kind of my deciding factor, which will be the 21, and give it a little bit more room to do its thing and run. Because even back here, even here, look at this. This is a nice little base, this little breakout right here. I mean, geez, you never saw anywhere near breaking the 9. Let's say you get out right here at 42. You bought it at 29. It's a great move in basically a month. So, this is what you look for, guys. You look for things like this. These things happen. It's not like, oh my God, it happened. It's not gonna happen ever again. It will. This will happen constantly. We just have to. We're fishing in the right pond. So, but the market has to be, in our back, and we have to, this little run right here was that little run that the Qs had. That little run right there was this. Remember this little month here when we had this? That was what that little run was. So when the market is behind us, stocks perform. So obviously when you have a choppy, volatile market, they're gonna be a little bit more, they're gonna stop you out. They're gonna be more volatile. So look for your bases, look for your setups. That's your entry right there would have been. But now we have a second chance here. Been going sideways on low volume. I'm a buyer at 50. I'm definitely a buyer at 50. INSW. Again, 25, 25.05, 25.12 around there. This little shelf right here, I like it. I'm probably gonna let it the 21 be my stop out. I wouldn't do the 9 because I've noticed the 9 it holds, but it violates it and it kind of closes above it. So intraday, I might get spooked because it violates it. I might get stopped out, and then making the same mistake where I'll let it run. Like for example, this day right here, if I would have owned it, let's say I would have owned it here, this little breakout, I would have owned it there. I definitely would have gotten stopped out. Or this day, I would have gotten stopped out this day. So if you notice, okay, I broke even. I gave all this away, but hey, who knows? I probably would have taken some profits along the way here. But let's say I got stopped out. Okay, so what's my next entry here? Boom, right there. That's my entry. Right? Because I wouldn't have been in it in this day right here. I would not have been in it because I already would have been out. I would have gotten stopped out here already. So this is my next setup. I'm right here. So this right here, I'm still would have been in it. Now this intraday little violation of the 9 would probably would have spooked me, and I would have taken some off the table or gotten stopped out, and then I would have missed this run here. So that's what I'm saying. Maybe like have a little bit more, wiggle room. And maybe the 21, and if the 9 is like, they have a, like something like this where you're just going up and up and up and up. And then maybe this day you take some profits and so forth. But like, just use your better judgment. But what I'm saying is, if this, okay, right here, right now, today, if you buy it at 25.05, don't use the 9 as your stop. Use 21. That's what I'm trying to say in like so many words. Okay. And then the last one, BKR. This little shelf right here, anything over 38, I'm a buyer. It's kind of like nice little cup here, little sideways, little here, maybe goes down a little bit for the handle and then it takes off. So I'll be a buyer at 38. And then, use the 9 for like maybe like a partial stop out, and the 21 is your final stop out on this one. All right, guys. So that's all I got for today. I hope you guys made some money today. The trades that I put on today, they've been working pretty well. I'll go over them on Thursday, the ones that I have. Hopefully I still have them. They'll still be working and they're still doing good. Have stops, on your stops. Like for example, I had some stocks this morning that I got stopped out on today's flush down, and then the market quickly recovered, and all those that I got stopped out on, ended up on the day, where it was down like $1.50 in some of them, and I got stopped out. That's fine. I have no remorse. That's trading. That's fine. I have no problem getting stopped out, and then just quickly within half an hour get reversed on me, and then it's much higher. I'm not participating. That's perfectly fine. Because what I'm trying to avoid that one time that it doesn't come back, and then instead of losing $100, I'm losing $500. That's what I want to avoid. So I'd rather lose 100, 100, 100, and make 300, 300, 300. Then okay, it's gonna come back. Let me keep it. It's like, oh shoot, I'm down $700 now. So now I gotta make a lot more here to kind of make up for the stupid mistake. So don't worry about getting stopped out and things getting going with you afterwards. You can get back in. So if you have something that it goes up and then it stops you out and you're out, okay, well, get back in. If it comes back inside, you get back in. As simple as that. If you really like the store, if you really like the stock, you could follow, put the work in, put in your watch list, and get back in. And this is a nice little entry right here. Wow. You get a 30 here. It's at 37. Well, you wouldn't hold it 37. You probably would have gotten out somewhere around here somewhere. This probably would have stopped you out. Still 34. You made a 4-point move in like a week. That's not bad. So you get what I mean, okay? So be good. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow during the day. I'll see what's going on, and the next video is Thursday.